coming on. I want everybody to hear your story, and we're going to get to this book that you've just written, My Intense and Meaningful Life with Cancer, A Diary of Healing. It's awesome. But what led up to this? In 2004, you get a diagnosis. Explain what happens from there.
I did. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2004 after I found a lump on my breast, had a negative mammogram, had an ultrasound, and the radiologist told me not to worry. He wasn't worried at all. I was 39, I had no family history, and he wanted me to come back in a year and check it out then.
What's happening in your head, though, when you get this diagnosis?
I'm thinking absolutely not. I'm not waiting a year. I knew that this was not normal for my body, and so I pushed. I had this biopsy, got the diagnosis.
Because you pushed it.
Because I pushed for it. Because I pushed for it. I knew this was not normal for me, what I felt.
I hear this over and over again,
Yes.
because I pushed for it, I know my body, I pushed for it.
Right.
What happens then?
So then we made a determination that I had stage 2 invasive ductal carcinoma. It was in my lymph nodes. It had infiltrated my entire left breast, so we knew that I was going to need a mastectomy. But I started chemotherapy on May 5th, 2004, and we affectionately refer to that as chemo de mayo in my home.
Only you would say this, to bring humor into something that is so scary.
But my kids were 10 and 12 and 13 at the time. So I couldn't have this be scary. I was scared on the inside, but I knew they would take their cue from me. And if I was going to be frightened, I can't imagine.
So you
what they would have been.
You start chemo.
Chemo.
What happens then?
I did a dose-dense chemotherapy, so I did chemotherapy every other week. I had 8 treatments, and after that I had a bilateral mastectomy and began breast reconstruction.
Life is moving very fast, and you're dealing with a lot of emotions. Yep. That's not the end of this story. Then what happens with cancer?
Well, actually, I can back up a little bit. In the middle of cancer, during my fourth chemotherapy treatment, I was treated right here in New Haven at St. Raphael's, Father Michael McGivney Cancer Center. I had a stroke during my 4th treatment, completely unrelated to my cancer. I had a hole in my left atrium, and through this clot, and had this very temporary paralysis, but it required heart surgery.
So this is completely
Yes.
off the radar. You're being treated for cancer.
Yes.
Now you have a heart issue, and you nearly die from this.
I did. If I had not been in the hospital when this happened, I would not have lived.
What happens then?
So I have the heart surgery at the Children's Hospital at Yale. I had to have a pediatric cardiology surgeon do this procedure on me, which was incredible, and saved my life. Got right back on the chemo horse, finished my chemotherapy, had the bilateral mastectomy, did the reconstruction. But during this, actually right away, the night that I sat my children down and told them that the biopsy that I had was malignant, I said to my daughters, now you have a family history of breast cancer. And so because of that, what you need to do is be really careful about how you know your body and how you treat your body. So I'm going to show you how to do a breast self-exam. And
your kids were so young at the time.
Oh my gosh, my daughter turned, my oldest daughter turned 13, got her period, and I was diagnosed with breast cancer in the same week. So here she is, her body is changing, and all these really wonderful things that are happening to her body. And I was so frightened that she would feel betrayed by her body and feel, you know, that this was not a good thing to go from being a girl to being a woman. So I said, no, these you know, that this is all just part of caring for your body, and you need to know your body. You are the only expert on your body, and you need to be the expert on your body.
So in the middle of all this, you start the Get in Touch Foundation, which goes back to these daisy wheels.
Right.
Explain what this daisy wheel is, because you have this in schools now worldwide.
Worldwide,
So that
yes.
young girls, because girls are getting cancer at earlier and earlier stages in their lives.
They are.
So this daisy wheel right here was designed in Connecticut. And what does this do, and how did you design it?
Well, the Get in Touch Foundation, we are a breast health organization, not a breast cancer organization, which is, I think, the beauty of what we do and why it's been so, it's been embraced really globally. We're not teaching girls to look for cancer. We're teaching girls to get in touch with their bodies, to become familiar with their bodies and know what their normal, healthy breast tissue feels like, because that's your baseline. Then you know going forward, if anything is not normal, hopefully we're raising a generation of girls that become women that know how to advocate for themselves.
So you're in the middle of cancer treatment. You start a nonprofit, GetInTouchFoundation.org. Along the way, something happens again. After the the stroke, after the heart surgery, you're re-diagnosed.
I'm re-diagnosed, yes. Yes.
What happens then?
Well, 7 years out I was. So I was past my 5-year mark and thrilled about that. It was just 2 years ago. Next month it will be 2 years. I felt a knot in my neck, and I thought I pulled a muscle. I had been doing a lot of traveling. I traveled a lot for Get in Touch. I speak all over the world. I had just come back from speaking at the International School Nurses of Asia conference in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and dragged my suitcase and everything I have all over, Asia, and 25-hour flights. And I thought, well, this is probably muscular. It just was bothering me. Went to see the doctor, saw my family physician, and as he checked my neck and stopped, I could see his face just crumble, really. He was not happy, stopped speaking, and I said, Was it
the same feeling that you had then in 2004, where somebody was going to give you some bad news? You knew that.
This I really knew. His face. I talked to him about this just 2 weeks ago, and he said, "I know my face. Everybody tells me my face gives it away. I have to figure out how to change that." But it's really the beauty of someone that they, are so. I mean, he was so compassionate that in the middle of a sentence just stopped because he was so.
So to be clear, you had cancer. You had a mastectomy, reconstruction.
Yep.
You've done everything you were supposed to do
Absolutely.
to be cancer-free.
Yeah.
Now it's back, which means maybe they did not get that spot, or what did they tell you?
That it just was a very aggressive cancer that I had.
Yeah.
I was HER2 positive. I was HER2 positive at my first diagnosis, but Herceptin, which is a targeted therapy, was not available for me when I was diagnosed in 2004. It was in clinical trials, and it was only being given, I think, for compassionate use. So women that were stage 4, end of life, they were using it for them, and it was not available to me because I was stage 2. So it was about to be approved, but I missed it by weeks, just weeks, and wasn't able to use it, to have Herceptin at that point.
So you're treated again, and I just want to bring this full circle. You will never be cancer-free.
That's right.
Ever.
Right, yes.
And you write this book as a diary, and it's down and dirty. It's exactly what happened. You have faith in your life that has helped you get to where you are today, and that you will find in this book. And your humor. You have a ton of humor. Why did you write this book, My Intense and Meaningful Life in Cancer, Diary of Healing? Why did you put all this down? And there are pictures of your family in here, and there are pictures of this Daisy Will from the Get in Touch Foundation. Why did you put it down here, and what do you hope to accomplish with this book?
I went to Barnes & Noble after I was diagnosed, and there were 6 books on breast cancer, and they were all clinical. And I just wanted to hear a story of a woman that got through this and how she got through it. I wanted to be lifted up. It's the book I wish had been available when I was first diagnosed. I wrote it for a woman just diagnosed with cancer, not even only breast cancer, any type of cancer. Just feeling lost. You just don't feel connected. I'm not a nurse. My sisters are nurses. I am not a nurse. So I needed to hear other women's stories and know how they got through this intense and meaningful time in their lives.
Which you have done in here. It's positive. I have known you now for a couple of years. You're uplifting, you're positive. We should say that you had a whole nother life before cancer. You were a cop.
I was.
Yes, you were on All My Children and played a cop.
Yes.
You were a model. you had this full and rich life, and you have 3 kids, and then cancer at 39 years old.
Right.
I want to know, as far as next steps, because I have heard you speak, and I have heard you say, I'm going to die. And guess what? So are you say to the audience.
Yes.
Which leaves people stunned. You have said to me, you have no idea how much longer you're going to be on this planet, but you're not going out fighting. You're going to live a full and rich life and help people, started a foundation, and I am sure you're not done yet.
I'm not done yet.
What's next?
I don't know what's next.
Another
the second
book, you said.
The
Another
second book, yes. Yeah, I'll continue to write, and this is, I mean, my heart is with Get in Touch, and to reach, really, our goal is to put a daisy wheel in the hands of every girl in the world, and it's really, it's an attainable goal. We're in all 50 states, we're in 21 countries. We have a free app on the iTunes store, a daisy wheel app. It's been downloaded in 78 countries. So we launched it in June of 2011, so 22 months ago, 78 countries. The number of downloads, the United States has the most number of downloads. China is second. Australia and Saudi Arabia are like tied for third.
Women whose lives are threatened with breast cancer, I hear this over and over again, continue to help others. It's as if you can't help yourselves. My sister, who has had breast cancer,
Yes.
my cousin, who has had breast cancer, is the same thing. I've got to help. I've got to help. Somebody else is going to be diagnosed. But you have taken this to a global level. And your positive outreach to so many people, does that come from faith? Where do you, in the darkest moments of your life, is this what is driving you?
Yeah. Yeah, I just, yes, completely. My faith is it's the biggest part of who I am. I never doubt God's presence in my life. I feel like this is wonderful, and I know that what's waiting for me next will be just as wonderful. None of us know how long we're going to live, and I've said to you, I know my life is not going to be as long as I would like it to be, or my kids would like it to be. So while I'm here, I'm going to do everything I can to make the world a better place for my own children and for as many people as I possibly can.
And the regimen right now for you in a second bout of cancer is what?
Well, I have Herceptin every 3 weeks, and then I go every 4 weeks for a couple of other injections that I get. And I go right over to St. Raphael's, which is now my low cancer hospital. Everything is all one big happy family. And this room, this infusion room every 3 weeks, and these women, it is such a sacred space. These women, how we lift each other up and celebrate with one another is remarkable. My oncologist, Dr. Andrea Silber, she said to me last year, and I think she tells people this often, that infusion room of women, when a new woman walks in and she's shaking, she's so nervous about her first treatment, frightened, really, really frightened, we all welcome her and comfort her and tell her she can do this and hold her hand. And Andrea steps back and she said, the amazing thing is to watch this happen and then know that a few weeks later to see that same woman doing the very same thing for the next woman that walks through the door. She said she's in awe of that on a regular basis, and I am as well. It's such a privilege. I feel so privileged, so blessed to share that with these women. They have become so
relatives,
incredible. Yes,
kinfolk.
Yes.
Well, Marianne, thank you from so many folks who have breast cancer, who don't have breast cancer, for leading the charge of helping young girls get in touch with their bodies, as you say, so that, God forbid, this happens to them, and writing this diary, which is uplifting and funny and warm and real. So good luck to you on the book and the tour, and take care of yourself.
I will.
And thanks for coming.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you.
You're welcome.